Who would have thought one of the first fully autonomous cars in the world would ever be available to buy at £42,000? We woke up this morning and found out that the new Tesla Model Y Standard is with us here in the UK. It was not quite with us, but it is available on the configurator. So Tesla just launched the UK's cheapest ever new Model Y for £41,990, the standard rear-wheel drive. So what's the difference? Is the downgrade in parts worth it for the price? Will this be the autonomous bargain of the century? Perhaps, in a few years' time, when we're looking back at it and going, "Wow, this was a fully autonomous car that you could choose to buy at £42,000." That's not a bad idea, is it? With me to discuss is Graham. How are you doing, Graham? Thank you for being here.
Good. Yeah.
The old cheapest Model Y in the UK was £45,000. That's the rear-wheel drive, the version that's sitting on my driveway right now. But Tesla has now deleted that and launched this new standard range at £42,000, exactly £3,000 cheaper than the one it replaced. However, it doesn't suffer any range decrease. In fact, it gains 3 miles. It now comes with 314 WLTP miles versus the old rear-wheel drive at 311. So that's due to a bit of weight loss and a few aero efficiencies as well. I believe it has the same size battery pack. But the difference now then, Graham, is it's £7,000 is the difference between the standard version that we're looking at now and then the next one along the lineup in the trims is the long range. So, I don't know. What do you think? Who's this going to be appealing to, do you think?
People looking for good value. If you're looking at the Model 3 rear-wheel drive, which starts at $39,990, but you need something with more space, this represents very good value. And especially if you're after a big hatchback as well, it does offer really good value for money when you compare it to the Model 3 rear-wheel drive. So I think it has its appeal, and the more I see this, I think the more I like it. Yeah,
I've got to say it's grown on me as well, just from the looks. Just staring at this image for far too long. It's simplistic sort of front end now, isn't it? That's lost the light bar, obviously, and the rear end has also lost the extra bit just underneath there. On mine is a nice sort of darker material, but I think this looks really quite sleek and nice. I mean, obviously we've not seen one up closely yet, but there's quite a lot of people that say they prefer the look of this actually when you see it up close.
Yeah, I mean, it's got even more understated looks, I think, which Tesla is becoming synonymous for now, is good build quality, understated looks, and a lot of technology on board. So I think in that regard, it offers like amazing value for money. It looks clean. It's got very clean lines on it. There's a few differences as well, isn't there, compared to the US model?
Well, there is. Yeah, let's talk about that then. So on the inside, it's a bit different. Something I forgot to mention earlier in my video about this that I put out. I didn't mention that the glass roof is no longer visible through it, as in it's still glass, but you can't see through it. They've put some material on the inside, which I still find a bit perplexing. Apparently, it was cheaper to continue to make the glass roof just and then put some fabric on it. It's not like the visible through glass. It's frosted apparently, so you can't just cut out a hole from the fabric and then there's my glass roof. But you've also lost a few of the creature comforts. So things like the rear screen is no longer there. You've got a bit of a cavernous space where the front console used to be. I think this might be quite nice actually, just to put big bags and make it a bit more spacious in there, I suppose.
It reminds me a little bit of the original Model S when it launched, because that didn't have a console. I think that was optional extra at the time. And so it came with this big cavernous space, and there are people that like putting their bags in there. Oh,
here's a shot where you can see the roof lining, so it's not glass above there. Oh, in fact, you can see it just in that one as well, slightly. And again, some people, they've looked around this in America and driven and stuff, they quite like the sort of more enclosed feeling, because if you are in California, it's blazing hot all the time. You lucky folks. Perhaps you don't want a glass roof in that sort of in those sort of conditions. I think it's the seats are now movable, not on the seat themselves, just on the screen. It's also got manual steering rack controls now, just like that top of the range Mercedes we were talking about last week.
The CLA,
CLA is now just gone back to basics and manually moving steering wheel. It's got basic ambient lighting, so I think just one strip of I think it's white, isn't it? Just the one light. You've got no RGB colours. The stereo is being downgraded. There's now just 7 speakers, down from, I believe mine is 9, so you don't get a subwoofer. The front lining, it sort of offended me a little bit when I first saw this, because
I know.
What? just looks a bit unfinished, doesn't it? But I guess every penny counts, doesn't it, when you're trying to shed some weight and shed some cost in. So, fine. I don't suppose many people are going to be that fussy about that. So, but it does keep the electronic boot. That's still operational and opening and closing. Yeah. And the rear folding seats, which I'm quite surprised too.
So on buttons.
Yeah, so you've got a button on the in the boot itself that you can just press and all the seats fold flat. And they're still reclining as well. So I thought that was quite an interesting thing to keep. What I wanted to touch on was wheels, because the wheels on this are quite interesting, aren't they? If I just bring up the configuration.
I think...
Go on then. Talk me through the wheels. What are you noticing here, Graham?
I think the American market might be a bit jealous, because we've actually got the wheels that come standard on the Model Y, your version, the rear-wheel drive and the long-range rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive. So these are the 19-inch wheels, whereas I think in the States they've got 18-inch with different coverings, different wheel design underneath. So we've got posher wheels over here.
We have. And could that be the £2,000 difference? Because I've got to be honest, I was expecting this car to come in at just under £40,000. That was my best prediction. But being £42,000, that's the actual extra cost of these 19-inch wheels if you were to have them as an option in America. So I wonder if there may be an even cheaper option coming if you want the 18-inch wheels.
I wonder why they've got different wheels to the standard fitted in America.
I know, it's because these are much nicer. It's probably just because of that. I'm not a massive fan at all of the standard wheels on this.
No.
I think they look too small. I think the old Model Y, and I remember Franz mentioning this, that he thought the wheels were perhaps a little bit too small for the size of the car on the base version, so they wanted to make it a bit bigger. So perhaps they're keeping these bigger. But I think these hubcaps are really nice. Actually, you can actually see the black alloy wheels, on the wheels themselves, as well as these hubcaps are just sort of clipped into place. So you've got a sort of nice two-tone. You've got shiny and matte black, and it looks really nice.
It's not a full hubcap, is it? It covers part of the alloy and exposes another part of the alloy. So it's kind of like a mush up between the two. But I think in that white, with those wheels, I think it looks so good. I really like that.
Yeah, I can't wait to see one up close and have a good look around it.
Yeah, I had a little peek on the American website with their smaller wheels, and it didn't do it for me. The wheels make a difference. I really like that.
You also don't have ventilated seats anymore. That's something else it's missing. But let's talk about performance then. It's the slowest of all the Teslas you can possibly buy now, coming in at a tragic 6.9 seconds. I mean, it's still as fast as a Mini Cooper S.
That's not far off that Mercedes we were talking about last week.
Yes. People keep reminding me in the comments, not everyone wants their face ripped off when they're driving a car. I mean, I thought that was a thing that everyone liked, but it turns out not. Some people also don't need to go more than 110 miles an hour, which is now what this has been limited to. But what this does is change the insurance group. So this is going to be far cheaper to insure as well. And as I made a video about a little while ago, it's thanks to the new Model Y's redesign and the gigacasting that it's actually cheaper to repair as well. So when you couple cheaper repair costs as well as lower performance, less top end, it gives you a better insurance group. And that's something we'd all enjoy, is paying less insurance, isn't it? So business contract hire over 36 months, 8,000 miles, that's 12 months advance, plus VAT, $299 a month. And test drives start in January. So I do believe deliveries are expected to be February, I believe.
Available Jan 2026. You only got a month to wait.
Oh, there you go. This car does represent a bit of a revolution to come, I think. I think we're going to be looking back on this car and going, there was an autonomous ready car available to you guys for £42,000. Who would have thought one of the first fully autonomous cars in the world would ever be available to buy at £42,000? I mean, I wouldn't have considered that to be the case. You would expect it to be hundreds of thousands of pounds to provide such incredible value to be a self-driving autonomous chauffeur, wouldn't you? But here it is. The only thing we're waiting for is regulation to catch up and version 14 to keep incrementally improving until it's absolutely nailed it.
I've seen some epic videos coming out of Europe with FSD, though. I mean, absolutely incredible stuff. Navigating very complex situations as well as a very good human driver without any issues whatsoever, giving way to oncoming cars. Making way, having to mount the pavement to get out the way of an oncoming car because there's no other space, and navigating around a pedestrian, and it's mind blowing how it thinks and works. It's thinking like a good human driver.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. It's incredible.
It's because it's been trained on so much human data, so many edge cases, and then on top of that, simulated versions of those same events as well. So it's seen more than any human driver will at this point.
What's amazing is that this is obviously been in the United States for a while now, but they've just plonked it into Europe, and there you go, get on with it, and it's doing it. It's just mind blowing. They just drop it in there. Yeah, that'll be fine.
It is. Yeah, absolutely. If you're new to Tesla, you've not bought a Tesla before, and you walk into a showroom and you see this, and all those bits and pieces are missing that we were just talking about earlier, would you care? Would you still just go, well, that's a nice car for a decent price? By the way, the average price of a car in the UK is £42,000. And you're still going to be looking at the 15.4-inch screen and having a good rummage around there, realizing it can drive itself. You've got the app and all the stuff to go with it. It's still a pretty good value proposition, isn't it? Buying this one. Yeah,
definitely. It's still a Tesla Model Y. There's a few trim differences, and that's what most people are going to tell. But I think, as you said, someone coming off the street, never owned a Tesla before, they want a kind of family hatchback crossover, and they look at that and they can afford it. And if they then, in the dealer or showroom or service center or whatever it is called, then has a look at the premium one and says, do you know what? The premium, this represents better value for money. I'll just go for that. And that's all I need. It really will do most people. And it's like that kind of, it's like the anti-Mercedes at the moment, isn't it? And BMW, they're really pushing or paving the way for the opposite of understatement. And this is just a return to that kind of simplicity, understatement, completely fuss-free. It's got like a Zen-like interior, I think, and I think it's going to appeal to. Honestly, I think it's going to appeal to a lot of people. I really do. Removing complexity as well from the cars, where it's been added in to Teslas in recent years. It's like, let's just remove that complexity and just kind of get back to a simpler design. It's very practical, family car. What it is really, Will, is they've put the 19-inch wheels on it, and that's just completely changed the looks of it. I think it's just made it look so much better.
I think these
up there on the video, those,
not sticky.
No.
I want to say bin lid, but I won't. What are they thinking? I mean, honestly, maybe they look much better up close, but
I don't think they do.
Nor do I. But sorry, I don't want to offend anyone who's bought one already.
If you like it, it's fine. But I just think the 19s look a lot nicer, and I think it's going to appeal to. Honestly, I think it's going to appeal to a lot of people. I really do.
Is this a car that you're interested in buying? Do let me know in the comments below. Massive thanks to Graham Cobb for this chat. I'm Will. This is the Tesla Jigsaw. Thank you, patrons. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.